we're on.
What's up, guys? This is BSQRD, the podcast, and we're both named Brandon.
Yeah. He's the primary Brandon. I'm just the other one that kind of lives here.
Yeah, he tags in every once in a while.
This is really your baby.
It kind of is, but I appreciate you being my guest for the first 3, 4, 5 episodes.
Hey, I'm always happy to do it. So, we're going over John Wick, right?
Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, which you probably should be, we're only like 20 seconds in, this podcast is going to be about the movie John Wick. The sequel came out very recently as of recording this, and I was interested in watching the first one so I could find out what all the fuss was about. So we did. And I must say, I think John Wick was a very great, American action film.
It was, it certainly is, I liked it. It was a great, return to awesomeness for Keanu Reeves. I liked the fact that it was a nice, hard R action movie.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my complaints of action movies these days is a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them seem to, like everything else, go PG-13 just to sell shitloads of tickets. And it's nice to have a movie where it's just balls to the wall, just nonstop violence and action.
Yeah, that is fun.
I thought it was such a good time.
And I like, oh my gosh. So I was just looking up the IMDb page for John Wick, and one of the one of the directors was Chad Stahelski. I don't know how do you pronounce that?
I'd say that's, Stahelski.
Stahelski.
If we get it wrong, who cares?
Well, apparently he directed a bunch of other movies that you might have heard of. 300.
He didn't direct 300. Zack Snyder did.
It said that, did he act in it maybe? So this is an actor, I guess.
He's a stunt work guy.
Stunts. Oh. Wait. Okay. See, I didn't prepare enough, I guess.
Who cares?
But, wow. So he did stunt work for all these films.
What all was on there? Because I really liked 300.
He did stunt work for 300, The Matrix, V for Vendetta, The Hunger Games. He played a terrorist in Live Free or Die Hard.
Oh, God.
Okay. So he's done some stunt work in different movies. So I guess this movie was directed by a stunt work guy.
No, there's no way. Let me look it up on here.
Well, David Leitch, and then we'll look it up.
John Wick was directed by Chad. Yeah. Okay.
That's really weird.
I'll give you that.
To have a movie be. You know what? That's probably.
Those are the only two things he's directed.
Wow. That's probably why it's so heavy on the action is so specific. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's the right word. But I heard that what's his name? Who played in it?
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, I heard that Keanu Reeves had to actually train with real guns to learn how to shoot and
That's
everything.
good. So it looks...
It was very authentic. Every time that he shot the correct amount of rounds for each gun, he reloaded. There was actually a scene, do you remember that? I think he was coming out of the red circle or whatever, and he was shooting, and he literally had to reload his gun a couple times.
So I think with the basics, I'm just going to ask, what did you think, overall, not so much, because obviously we both liked the movie, but what about it did you like? Aesthetic-wise or characters, what would you say was the best thing?
Well, I had some things written down. I don't really review films much. So, I had this down. I liked the lack of music and sound for, the stealth and stabbing kills, because it added a weight to it. So, they only used music strategically. It was never filler music. You know how in a lot of it, like say you're watching Fast and Furious 5 or 8, whatever, I don't know how many films they have.
I'm not a fan of those, but
But say you're watching that, a lot of the music in it is just going to be filler music. They just want something so that it doesn't seem boring because there's not a lot going on. But with this movie, there were many points in it where there either was music or there wasn't music for a purpose. Like when he was in the red circle trying to get that kid, there was slight music, you could hear it, but it was like it was kind of softer and a little more quiet, and it was like happy type music. The tone of it was really
to offset it.
Yeah, and it made it seem way more creepy and added to the fact that he was trying to be stealthy. Like behind the scenes of this like club, he's breaking people's necks and stabbing them. So I thought that was really cool. I really liked that.
See, when it comes to the music for me, I liked it because a lot of action movies they're really drum heavy, like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
This was real bass heavy, like almost kind of like a almost industrial type bass, like you had like a bit of electronics in there. Of course, you had Marilyn Manson on the soundtrack.
Well, I was about to say that was another thing. And you know that, interestingly enough, and maybe I'm misremembering, but wasn't that like the only actual song you heard?
Yeah, Manson's Killing Strangers.
And it only came on when
Willem Dafoe's character.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was the sniper.
So I'm thinking that was almost like a theme.
It was his character's theme song.
Which is really cool, because they don't do that much in movies anymore. But I feel like Wick should have a theme, if they're going to have themes for different people.
That would be cool, but I'm not sure, like, I'd have to think about what I think his theme would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, Killing Strangers was a perfect pick for Dafoe's character, who I think should have been in more of the movie.
Oh, yeah, me too.
He's a character that... Because, like, I know how fun he can be from Green Goblin. Mm-hmm. And, like, if you had him playing just, like, a nice, cunning, but also kind of crazy sniper, oh my god, there could have been some great scenery chewing.
I mean, it would have been great. And the fact that he had such a pivotal role in the film, like, at one point, if it wasn't for Willem Dafoe, John Wick wouldn't have made it.
Yep.
Are we going to spoil the movie? I think we should, because it's been out for
The movie's been
a
out
year,
since 2014, so
I think if you haven't seen it yet,
Yeah, it's not we're spoiling the second one or anything. That would have been...
But, I mean, Willem Dafoe basically saved John Wick's life, and I think that we would have cared more when he died if we had had more of an interaction between the two, but we didn't have much. We had, like, one little conversation, and then that was it, you know?
I liked his death scene. It got like,
it was really intense.
Yeah, it was intense to me, and like, because they kept killing strangers there, but like it was instrumental, and like it's just that nice slow kind of groove to it. And then when they put the bullet in, it was just "we're killing strangers," and it just
I didn't notice that. That's
it
great,
matched up so well. Like even though his character is dead now, perfect song choice.
Speaking of making us care about people dying, I really liked the fact that they used a necklace as two, like, or three examples of importance. Then, wait, hold on. I wrote this out as, like, I put this down in my notebook, and I'm not really transitioning into it well. But
who cares?
The way they used his, like, instead of having us figure out, like, that his wife was an important thing to him, you know, like a emotional thing to him, we had the necklace, and then he kind of had the necklace paired with the dog right away.
Yeah.
So instead of having us, you know how in Up we see, like, that old man with his wife, and they live their whole lives together, and, you know, in the course of, like, 3 or 4 minutes, you get so attached to this person, and then she dies, and then you kind of get why he's so bitter throughout the rest. We didn't have that in John Wick, but what they did do
I thought it was perfect.
Well, it was good because the dog kind of let us justify his killing spree.
No one likes to see bad things happen to a dog.
Exactly. So
other than Cujo.
if we didn't have the dog, and it was just what they showed with the wife dying, you know, right in the beginning really quickly, I probably wouldn't have, like, understood how angry he was. But because they added a puppy, cute little puppy dying right in the beginning, I'm like,
Cute
yep,
little
he
beagle.
needs to kill everyone. He killed this little beagle. Everyone deserves it. It was terrible that they did this.
And plus, there was that fantastic scene when he first got the dog when he was reading the note from his wife.
Yeah,
and
that
he
helped
just
a
started
lot, too.
breaking down. That was so effective. Like, and you only saw, like, you heard her words there. I don't remember. Were there just, like, a flashback here and there of them together?
There was in the very beginning, like they flashed back to her, like being in the hospital.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. But, like, that tells you all you really need to know.
Yeah.
But, like, his reaction from that letter lets you know exactly how much he loved her and how much he was mourning her loss.
That's a weird service, by the way. If we can talk about that, like sending
Mailing a puppy.
Post-mortem puppies. It's like it's insane how she had the forethought. I think she had cancer.
Yeah.
But the fact
She said
that
this
she
disease has been with us for a while.
Yeah, she did say that. Like the fact that she had the forethought to send him a puppy after she dies is like crazy. So I
Very
mean,
thoughtful.
Yeah, it was very thoughtful. She was really nice. Yeah, but this movie was really cool. I liked it a lot. It made me want to like write fan fiction for it almost. Like I would love to expand on this universe.
What else did you have in your notes?
Yeah, well, I had the dog adds emotion early on, so you understand like why he's killing people. What else did I have?
Because one of the things I really liked was the kind of the way the way it was lit was it reminded me of like an 80s action film.
Really?
Like because you've got like the neon colors at some points, like especially when he's in the club. And it just reminded me of, like, it's like I should be watching this in a rerun on, like, Cinemax or something, like, which is it probably has been reran on there, but I don't know, and I'm just a sucker for, 80s movies, and the aesthetic of that, even though it didn't, like, have quite the same color palette, the way that, the shadows fell, that kind of bass-heavy soundtrack, like, I don't know, that was right up my alley, and I'd like to see the second one at some point, but
yeah, me too.
If they expand on that.
I'll be honest, this movie really made me appreciate Keanu Reeves.
You didn't appreciate him before?
Well, I never was a fan of his. Like I watched, when he was a kid.
Come on, Bill and Ted.
Yeah, I watched Bill and Ted. I
Yeah.
liked Bill and Ted. And I never watched the Matrix series at all. Like, none of it. Yeah. And the only other Keanu Reeves movie I'd seen was that Knock Knock movie, and I'll be honest, I hated him in that. He overacted, and the story.
You better watch.
I didn't
You better
like
watch
the
what you're
story.
saying. I'm a huge Eli Roth fan.
See, maybe he's good in other things, but I'll be like Knock Knock to me was not very good. But anyway, I didn't like the way Keanu Reeves acted in that movie. And I was afraid that we'd sort of get the same sort of over, cheesy acting. But this role really fit his sort of personality type when he acts. Like, I really enjoyed it. It was awesome. Because he didn't have to talk much, it sort of added to the allure.
He was just that type of character.
Yeah, and it helped a lot. Because, I don't know, he's not the type of actor I feel like that can do like Family Man type stuff, and in the beginning of Knock Knock he had to do that, and it just wasn't believable to me, but like I believe that he was probably this ex-Marine assassin character. Like I had that suspension of disbelief. I really could get into that role and believe him as that. I didn't see Keanu Reeves, I saw John Wick,
See, with Keanu Reeves, for me, was like I like stuff like Bill and Ted, of course. I like the first Matrix movie. That's the only one I've seen. But the way he played his type of character in there, kind of like an everyman type thing who gets thrown into this intense situation. I thought he played that well, and I've seen him in. Have you ever seen Bram Stoker's Dracula from the 90s?
No.
He played the main character in that, and he's good in it for like what it is. The problem with his performance was that like he was doing one of the most obviously fake British accents I've ever heard in a movie. But like it wasn't like you could tell he was trying. Like he wanted to actually be in it, but he just had to do that accent. And then thankfully he redeemed himself with The Matrix.
I hate when they do that in movies. They make people have accents when you don't necessarily need it.
Speaking of accents, how long did it take you in John Wick to figure out that bad guys were Russian?
Like right away.
It took me forever.
Yeah, you asked me, he's like, what are they like Russian? Yeah.
Because there were several scenes where they were like speaking in Russian to each other, and then like the main villain has this accent, and I was just trying to place it. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, are they European somewhere? Maybe. I couldn't place where they were at first. But
Yeah, the first scene when they were at that gas station, I knew right away. But I mean, I don't know why.
I'm just saying they could have used more bears and vodka.
Yeah. Like, you just need more overt, representation. It's like, oh, stereotypes. I get it now.
Like a big portrait of Putin hanging on the wall.
They have, like, the big hats or whatever.
Yes.
Like the snow hats.
I'm just saying, if they were going around like that and John Wick was doing the same stuff he did, but, like, he was wearing an American flag as a cape, that would have made this movie even better for me.
Yeah, he'd have been a cool superhero. Yeah, honestly, I did enjoy this movie, because I don't watch a lot of action films. Like, the last action movie I watched was not the most recent James Bond film, but the one that came before the most recent one. Skyfall, yeah. That was the most recent action film I've watched. And, because I try to stay away from that and watch more comedies, because I just enjoy those way more. But, yeah, it was way better than Skyfall. I really did believe that. Like,
to me, I think this, and I've talked about this movie a lot, Dread from 2012, are really what I look for in action films. Like, a lot of nice gun violence, a lot of, over-the-top type, not quite scenarios, but, like, the characters, obviously this person might not exist in real life, but he might. Like, Dread is a movie about just a quiet man who's just very strict and does what he has to do to serve justice. And most of the time that has to do with putting bullets in people's heads in this crime-ridden city. And in John Wick, it seems like there's a group of assassins who try to, keep the city safe in a way, even though the assassins are kind of fucking each other over, like in that one scene when he gets attacked by the woman. Mm-hmm. It just kind of came to me. I'm just like, this is a society of assassins that have high up connections in this city that are also, in a way, taking care of criminals and keeping the city safe.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. And that's sort of the backdrop for this story. And I really liked how the story was more so simple. Like, in that Skyfall movie, the thing that I don't like about most action films, at least the ones, like, now that they make the newer ones, is the fact that they all have to be... The story has to be so convoluted. Like, there has to be some master plan that the evil villain is trying to fulfill. Like, not only in Skyfall, but in, like, Mission Impossible. Like, that most recent one with Tom Cruise. It's like, we have to get the codes away from the Arabs, and they're gonna da-da-da-da. And there's this big, like, scheme that they have to stop and figure out how to beat. But
this is just a guy trying to kill a dude.
Exactly, it's just a guy seeking revenge. And I think more so... It's easier for the audience to follow, and that makes it more of a fun experience. It's more of a movie that you can just sit back, turn your brain off, and enjoy. Like, it's more entertaining when you don't have to worry about, like, okay, so they're over here, this is part A of the plan through Z, and we have to figure out, did they get the plans? Did they get the code? Like, Ocean's 11... I remember when I went with my grandparents to go see Ocean's 11.
Okay.
And there was this whole convoluted story about breaking into this museum, and there was like one set of ragtag team people who had to get together and dress up and, figure out the schematics of the place and get in. But finally, when they get there, the diamond's gone, I think. And it turns out at the end, another guy from a separate group came and got it himself. You didn't find out to the very end. And I just remember leaving that movie and my grandparents being like, so what happened? I don't understand at all. And it's like, even though that's not an action movie per se, it's more of like a, what would that be? Like a break-in.
I don't know. I've never seen those movies.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Is like the story is so complex that you don't understand it. Where this is the total opposite of that, and I loved it.
See, I like both kinds of stories. I enjoy a complex story when I'm trying to sit down and like really have an experience with the movie I'm watching. But if I just want popcorn, it's like Mad Max Fury Road. Mm-hmm. It's just a guy trying to survive after the apocalypse, in a gang of crazy car drivers. It's like that's all you really need to know, and he's just trying to get water back to these people, take care of a bad dude. That's it.
Point. Yeah.
It's just there may not be that much of a story, and I mean there is a story in Mad Max Fury Road. There's a story in all those movies. They're just not that complex.
Yeah.
Like in the first one, his family gets killed. He's a cop who's kind of teetering on the edge of about to break. His family gets killed, just goes crazy and goes and gets revenge. And then when it comes to Fury Road, it's just, there's not that much of a very complex story, but you don't need it because you're too focused on those great action scenes with all the cars. It's like, who is Max? Well, he's just a survivor after the apocalypse. He used to be a cop. All right, who are these people? They live under this bad dude. What do? They're starved for water. What does Max need to do? Get free and take out the baddie. That's all you need to know. And in the meantime, you get all these great chase scenes and explosions.
Yeah, it's just an experience, and that's what it's supposed to be. Going back, because we're talking about cars, going back to, like, Fast and Furious, that's another one where it's like, that movie should just be people driving and running into each other and blowing up, explosions and stuff. But they try to give it this, like, complex story.
Didn't
and
it start off about
flat.
street racing and then got into heists and crime?
Well, yeah, it's like they have to. That's the thing. They have heists. They do heists. Like, at first, they were, like, stealing VCRs out of trucks.
Okay.
Like, that's what the first one was about, apparently. They were trying. That was the
Just stealing VCRs?
Yeah, that was
nice.
the big heist, was getting
Sweet.
a truck full of VCRs. And then it turned into them. Like, in one movie, they, like, had to defeat the corrupt police department in Argentina, and they like stole their safe out of their building with cars and was flying through the streets with it. And then out of nowhere, right in the middle, they had like this street chase, like a street race, in cop cars, just because they wanted to. It was really weird. But the story is so convoluted, especially because they're trying to continue on with each sequel. They just add more and more onto it. Like, there's one character who they thought died but came back, eventually or something.
Paul
it's
Walker.
really weird. No, it was this other girl, but that would be a crazy twist. I found out in those movies that after he died, they just put his brother in and like CG'd
his face. Yep.
Yeah, and I didn't see it, and I kind of don't want to because it's gonna make me feel weird if I have to. Oh, like, I feel like I'm gonna notice right away when I do finally see it.
Actually, like, I kind of like the fact that we're able to CG actors. Like, did you see Star Wars Rogue One?
Yeah.
When they CGI'd Peter Cushing back from the dead, Grand Moff Tarkin, the old guy who was hanging out. He's been dead for like 30 years.
Really? See, I was thinking about how they had Leia at the very end. Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking.
And I thought they both looked good. I'm just like that.
Yeah, Leia did look pretty good.
I'm just like, that looks great. A lot of people were like put off by it, but
it's like those Snickers commercials that they've been doing recently. Like, they did one with Marilyn Monroe.
Yes.
I don't know how they do it, but it's really good. Like, you can tell like slightly a little bit that it's CG, but for the most part, I mean, it's believable. I think
it kind of reminds me of watching one of those motion capture animated films that were coming out for a while, just with a lot better textures.
Yeah.
I realize we kind of strayed off topic, but like really we were just talking about like, with a movie like John Wick with a very simple story and everything, you can only talk about so much. So that's why we branched off, of course.
Right. You can. That's true. You can only talk about so much because really, at the end of the day, all it is a movie that you can sit down with, a bucket of popcorn, a nice root beer, some Twizzlers, and just have a good time. And that's what I really enjoy about it. And I also enjoy how crazy detailed it is when it comes to the action scenes. Like, a lot of times they don't put a lot of thought into it. It's like one guy has a 6-shooter pistol and he fires off 30 rounds. It's crazy how they don't care. But in this one, and I'm thinking it may be because the director is a stunt guy, they really made sure it was very, very detailed. In fact, I need to show you that video of not John Wick. It's Keanu Reeves, not John Wick. Of Keanu Reeves like practicing on, with shooting. I mean, it's insane how good he got. It's like that was part of his training regimen, is to learn how to shoot, because if you're going to be an action star and shoot, maybe you should know how to.
He probably already knew how to from the Matrix movies.
Really? So you think, well, he had the same stunt director, so I'm probably...
Like, he probably, knew the basics of that, because probably with the Matrix, I'm willing to bet it was all just, of course, CG bullets.
Yeah, that's what I was
just
thinking.
Point your gun over there, and then...
that's what I was thinking.
I don't know, that's just as what I'm saying, but, it seems to me like John Wick, they're just all right, this is a pretty grounded movie. Let's try to make this seem like it could exist in reality.
That's what I really...
Although, I'm not sure I'd want to live in that city. What city were they in? New York?
It did kind of look like New York a little bit.
Because I don't remember them ever saying the name of the city.
But in his neighborhood where he lived, though, it looked kind of like L.A. or something.
Yeah?
Like Sherman Oaks or whatever.
It could just be like in 7 where the city has no name.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
And it's just kind of shitty.
I really, really like that, though. I like the fact that they introduced this universe and they opened it up for a sequel without, if they wanted to, they could have left this as a standalone film.
Just he walks off with a new dog into the night.
Yeah, that could have been the ending. But I'm not mad at the fact that they're doing a sequel because, like you said, behind him, this very simple story of just getting revenge, you do get to see, there's this city of assassins. They have a hierarchy of, people and... they have
there's
this
a
sort
network of
system.
individuals who interact with them.
Exactly. I like the fact that there is this open-ended universe that you can tap into, but they also have this standalone film that goes along with it. I wouldn't be mad if they did a John Wick 2 and then continued with a different character. Maybe we could get a prequel with Willem Dafoe's character and get his whole story, how it ties into him eventually, doing. I
kind of want to know how the bellhop at the hotel, the desk guy. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to know what his story is. How did he start working for this?
What would be a good story is, you remember how the Russian guy said that I had John Wick do an impossible task where he killed many people, and those people was the foundation of what got us to be who we are. I would like to see what that task was and what he had to do. That would be interesting.
Well, see, some things like that, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that, but to me, that kind of conversation they had there really helped you visualize who John Wick is, of course. But to me, that's something that doesn't really need to be explained. It's kind of like when you watch Reservoir Dogs and you don't see the heist, and you just see what happens afterwards. But you still you get the gist of what happened.
And it sort of adds to the imagination. It makes you... without showing it, you can kind of make up, he's a badass. He's really, your imagination adds more to it than just seeing it.
Mm-hmm. So that's one of those things where it's I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it, but it's I kind of like the fact that you don't, and you're able to, it's oh God, what did he do? Yeah. And then now look at where he is now, look where the Russians are.
It was so cool when that guy called him and was let's try to do this civilly and be, play to our more civil side. And John Wick says nothing and then just hangs up. And the guy's what'd he say? Enough. He said enough. That was the most intense thing, because I thought, you have to be a badass to scare a guy that much. Saying nothing is saying enough.
I was kind of hoping it would be I'm glad they didn't do this, but it'd be kind of funny if in, Scott Pilgrim, where he's you're gonna hear 2 clicks. First one's me hanging up the phone. Next one's me pulling the trigger, or something like that. And the dude hangs up. He's Keanu Reeves could have easily had something like that to say.
Yeah, really
but
cool.
He didn't. He just kind of sat there with that long hair falling down in his face and looking all intense as fuck.
Well,
plus, I guess one more thing that I'm kind of curious about this world. Why do they pay each other in gold coins?
That is really weird.
Because he had a suitcase full of guns. He should probably cross over with the mariachi. Cases of guns. And nah, that couldn't exist in the same world. But no, he had a suitcase full of guns and gold coins.
Well,
And then like who did he pay for gold? Like he's like, hey, you want a gold or something like that, and he paid a dude.
Well, the thing is like fine, they used gold
There was
coins.
It was the cleanup guys who went and took all the bodies out of his house.
Well, the thing is, like, fine, they use gold coins, but what's the exchange rate? Like, he paid 1 coin to get a room for the night with all these amenities, but then he also paid 1 coin to get into the door of this club. Like, so it costs the same to go to the hotel and this fancy club. I don't get it.
Also,
like,
by the way,
and he gave like a handful of coins to the cleanup guy. It's like, I don't know.
If he had, let's just assume that the gold coins are tokens to show, okay, I'm an assassin. I'm here for something. Why was the club so full of people then?
There's a lot of assassins.
Maybe were they assassins, or maybe the assassins kind of hire or let people come in to mask themselves.
Oh, yeah, and they hide behind the scenes sort of thing. And it's just like an identifier.
And see, this is so cool that we're able to come up with questions like this from like this universe that it's just, one movie we've seen. We haven't seen 2 yet, so I'd like to see where it expands to. I want to know more. Maybe we could go outside of this city. Maybe like, well, I don't know. I guess I'll have to just, go see it sometime. If I can.
I'm really excited to see the second one.
It's like, I don't know though. I went to the movies the other day and saw Cure for Wellness. That was a good time, but
I did not want to see that. The trailers creeped me out. I'm glad it's out so I can stop seeing the dumb trailers.
Well, Get Out's coming out soon, so you don't have to worry about that.
Exactly. That's another one I hate seeing the trailer for. Why am I paralyzed? That guy with his big eyes.
Hypnotizing him with the tea or whatever. It's like, I'm going to see that movie when it comes out, but the trailers are getting a little bit annoying.
They are getting a little annoying. Same thing for Logan, too.
Yeah, like, I still don't know if I'm going to see that or not, but
I'm gonna see it. They're supposed, if it's based off of
Old Man Logan.
Yeah, there's a part where I might be spoiling it, but I'm not sure if they're gonna follow it to a T like that. But there's a part where the Hulk eats Logan because
this is a 20th Century Fox.
Oh, so they don't own the rights. I might not see it now. That was the whole reason.
That's the whole reason why
I wanted to see him rip himself out of like an old Hulk. That would be so cool.
No, they had a bunch of like nice. They played a trailer for that before Cure for Wellness, and it had some nice little one-liners of like Charles Xavier saying like, "I'm fucking 90" and stuff like that in the trailer.
Yeah, because it is rated R.
Yeah, it's a hard R. Like there's like claws going through people's heads and stuff.
Oh wow.
So I'm just like, this seems like something I'd like. But the only X-Men movies I've seen are Origins, First Class, and Deadpool. I hated Origins and I hated First Class, but I like Deadpool. So I don't know the storyline.
Have you seen the first ones other than...
Because I know that chronologically it goes, like, Origins and First Class, 1, 2, 3, the Wolverine, then Days of Future Past, where they go back in time and kind of resurrect, like, stop everyone from getting killed, so it changes the timeline. And then you've got Apocalypse, which is like the new past. I didn't see Apocalypse.
Yeah, me either. I didn't want to.
It got pretty mixed reviews. But like, and then you've got the new past there. And then you've got Logan, which is the new future. So that movie kind of, fucked with the timeline. And that, I just like, I'm not an X-Men fan. There's just too many damn characters. But like, those movies...
Did you ever watch the animated series?
Yeah, I watched. Really I tried to. I had too many characters. But, like, I feel like I would like it if I sat down and, watched the good ones. But, again, the only ones I've seen are Origins and First Class, really. And because Deadpool's its own thing, really. It exists in the same canon, but it's its own thing.
Right.
So, I don't want to sit through all those movies just to watch Logan. I might watch Logan and then just have a friend to catch me up on what happened.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got other things. I've got like a King Kong movie coming out I need to watch.
That's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, guys, that was the podcast. I had a great time talking about John Wick.
And other various films.
Yeah, so, I don't know what we're going to do next time.
If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry we spoiled the shit out of it, but hey, go watch it anyway.
Yeah, it's been out since 2014.
You've had plenty of time if you haven't... I mean, then again, we hadn't seen it until just the other day.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say earlier.
But I was spoiler-free. I didn't know what was going to happen except for the dog.
Yeah, same here, because I had watched a video where they subverted the whole like thing, so it was the dog that became the assassin instead of Keanu Reeves. But anyway, so that was a podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening, and we'll see you next time.
All right, take it easy, everyone.